Tes, suaranya kedengeran nggak ya? Apakah ada yang bisa confirm kalau suaranya udah oke? Okay. Thank you. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for finding time and visiting today's webinar as a sister series and Envision Career in Consulting and Ace Your Case interview by Universitas Indonesia Women in Business. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Almira Lavina Sambowo, or Almi in short, and I'm the co-founder and also the co-president of OE Women in Business. I'll be responsible for hosting today's webinar, and I'm very honored to lead and to have a discussion with our distinguished speakers. Okay, before I introduce you to our speakers, I'm going to start today's event by introducing a little bit about OE Women in Business, especially to those of you who are still unfamiliar about our community. OE Women in Business is a newly initiated community at OE. We aim to provide a deeper understanding of various career opportunities and also provide insights on gender issues surrounding women towards women students at OE. We believe that both of these purposes will help us to get a better understanding of what life looks like as a woman after college, so that we may be able to prepare ourselves better and take on the necessary actions to achieve our dreams. In order for us to achieve that vision, we are guided by 3 missions, which are to empower, to connect, and to grow the women community at OE. Okay, so about today's event, as a sister woman in consulting, it is an interactive panel discussion conducted by Universitas Indonesia Women in Business, along with respective speakers who are UI alumni that works in consulting industry. This series aspired to be a platform for students, specifically women students at UI, to deepen their understanding of a career in consulting. We hope that by the end of the session, you may gain insights as how to our distinguished speakers may prepare themselves to ace their recruitment processes, transition from college life to consulting, and as well as how they can thrive and develop their career as a woman consultant. Okay, so today we will have a very smart, kind-hearted, and also accomplished speaker here with us. First of all, we have Ibu Lenita Tobing, partner at Strategy and part of PricewaterhouseCoopers Network, and also an alumna of Faculty of Economic and Business, batch 1993. And we also have Kezia Saraswati, consultant at the Boston Consulting Group, Southeast Asia, and also an alumna of Faculty of Engineering, batch 2011. And last but not least, we have Natasha Belinda, a business analyst at Deloitte Consulting, Southeast Asia, and also an alumna of Faculty of Psychology, batch 2012. Okay, so for the first session, which is Envision Career in Consulting, each of the speaker will present around 15 minutes about their career, and afterwards we will have a combined moderated session and also Q&A session with each of the speakers. And for the second session, which is Ace Your Case interview, we're going to have a key simulation in which will be conducted by Kezia. There will be a feedback session from our speakers and also participants for the case interview itself. Okay, and last but not least, I would like to kindly remind you all about a couple of things that before we start with the event. Please always ensure that your audio is on mute throughout the session. Remember that we will not be receiving any direct questions in the Q&A session, so please drop as much as question as you'd like through our Slido in accordance to the code number stated in the chat box. The complete set of rules can be read in your chat box. Okay, so without further ado, let's welcome our very first speaker, Natasha Belinda, and she is currently as a business analyst at Deloitte Consulting, Southeast Asia, and also an alumna of Faculty of Psychology, batch 2012. Natasha, the time and floor is yours. Halo, Natasha. Hello, Kak. Are you here already or not yet? Okay. Okay, I think that Natasha is having a trouble with her connections. So, Kezia, is it okay if you start your presentation first?
Yeah, sure. Let me share my screen here.
I'll
hi. Sorry, I'm late. I had a problem with my Wi-Fi. It's Natasha.
Oh, it's not. Okay, sure,
Yes,
sure.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I had a problem with my Wi-Fi, but it's all good now.
Okay, sure,
Thank
sure,
you
sure.
for waiting.
I'll start with Natasha.
Sorry to keep you guys waiting.
Yeah,
okay.
Sure.
Okay, thank you, Kak. Okay, so Kak Natasha, the time and place is yours.
Yes. All right, thank you. First of all, I'm sorry for the delay. I had some technical difficulties with my Wi-Fi. So, hi everyone, it's nice to see a lot of new and friendly faces di sini. Nama aku Natasha Belina, and I'm here to talk about how is the consulting career like, especially in the human capital offering. So, I think we can start now. Jadi, sebelum aku mulai, as a brief introduction, nama aku Natasha Belina. I've been working in Deloitte Consulting for about like almost 2 years, and I am a business analyst, and currently I'm working under the human capital offering. Jadi saat ini itu Deloitte Consulting ada banyak offerings. If you've heard, there is strategy analytics and M&A, which has something to do with merger and acquisition. There's customer marketing, core-based operations, and there's human capital. Di situ di mana aku kerja under human capital, and ada ETP, yaitu enterprise technology and performance. So about human capital, kira-kira roughly itu ada 2 offering yang kita berikan kepada our clients. One is on workforce transformation, and the other one is on organization transformation. Jadi workforce transformation itu put simply gimana kita bisa ngebentuk future leaders and the future employees of the future. Dan organization transformation itu adalah gimana kita bisa ngedrive sebuah company dari segi HR strategi kita bentuk ke dalam organisasi yang diinginkan di masa depan. Gitu. Jadi sebelum aku masuk Deloitte Consulting, aku kerja di Willis Towers Watson. Itu juga it is human capital consulting firm juga. Namun the services are fairly different to Deloitte Consulting because it's more on talent and rewards. Jadi talent dalam arti ini gimana kita bisa mengembangkan talent di dalam sebuah organisasi dari segi capability building, leadership, and assessments. And then we have rewards management, which is more into kayak kita nentuin gaji dari job ini tuh kira-kira berapa ya, compared to the market, how much is this job worth, gitu. So like all of you here, aku dulu mahasiswi UI juga, aku angkatan 2012, and I major in psychology. Jadi pada akhir semester itu, I decided that I wanted to study more on PIO, which is jadi psikologi industri dan organisasi. Itu adalah salah satu cabang psikologi yang mempelajari psikologi dari perspektif organisasi. Dan pada saat itu tesis aku tuh tentang job embeddedness, jadi mempelajari berbagai macam komponen that allows a person to stay in an organization dari segi culture, environment, and the rewards that they're getting in the organization. So that's just a brief of my background. Setelah aku lulus, to be honest, I didn't know what I wanted to work in at that time. Jadi lebih ke aku ngobrol ke teman-teman yang udah kerja di consulting, and then like okay, like it seems like an interesting job, like you get to be exposed to a lot of new projects cross industries, dan tiap hari itu kayaknya nggak ada bosannya karena kita belajar mulu dan ada challenge baru terus gitu. So itu salah satu alasan aku mau masuk consulting. Okay, and then next slide please. Okay, so sebelumnya, okay, so throughout my experience in consulting, I've worked with several industries nih. Jadi for me in general, one of the things that interests me about working in consulting is that you're able to gain a lot of cross-industry knowledge through experience. Jadi kebanyakan itu learning by doing and on-the-job experience. Salah satunya itu aku pernah kerja, one of my clients itu banking industry. Pada saat itu we helped the client go through a digital transformation. Dan digital transformation itu adalah proses di mana when a company uses digital technologies in order to create new modified business process dari segi BAU-nya, dari segi proses mereka kerja setiap harinya. Jadi we transformed it to be more digital instead of manual processing. And talent management in this case is more into how we create the leaders of the future. Karena pada saat ini, especially during this time, we're facing a lot of multiple features. Contohnya misalnya multiple features like features of the industry. Sekarang organizations are constantly going through a state of flux di mana they're competing with startups and fintechs di mana mereka harus terus strive to innovate and create new products. So kita membuat mindset shift kepada leaders ini, kira-kira capabilities apa yang dibutuhin buat masa depan. And the second is, menurut aku ini yang paling menarik, yaitu kerja di healthcare industry. Kayak selama aku kerja di consulting, I've never thought of actually working for a healthcare industry as my client. Jadi waktu itu pada saat itu buat change management. Jadi change management itu adalah pada saat a company they wanna move all their systems to be online, so it's everything's gonna be like technical. Jadi intinya semua itu bakal integrated, mereka mau implementasi sistem baru. Jadi that's change management. Kita bantu dari segi people, process, and technology. We identified the change impact analysis, yaitu kita menganalisa kira-kira apabila kita implementasi sistem ini, dampak kepada orang-orangnya apa, ke teknologi apa, dan ke prosesnya gimana, apa yang berubah. So there's the change impact analysis, ada stakeholder alignment, lalu ada user acceptance test juga, di mana mereka actually sit down and go through the system together, dicek apakah ada bugs, and then we help fix that sebelum ada go live. Jadi go live itu term yang sangat common di CM, yaitu pada saat sistemnya itu udah baru nih, sistem baru udah nyala, and then the old system is no longer used anymore gitu. Jadi that's roughly banking, health, sekarang terakhir itu telkom. Jadi telkom industri ini kita membantu dia mengimplementasi agile ways of working. So as most of you know, sekarang most organizations are still working very rigidly, jadi it's very hierarchical dan kayak setiap organisasi itu sangat silo kerjanya. Jadi dalam agile ini kita membantu mereka work across collaboration and also increase, intinya kita mencari cara yang paling efektif untuk mengerjakan sesuatu, tapi dengan cara yang paling mudah, yang paling gampang, dan tentunya itu bisa ngedrive value paling besar kepada customer. Jadi itu yang kita bantu mereka. Pada saat itu we activated 2 squads, atau bisa dibilang kayak 2 groups gitu. We work together to create OKR-nya apa, objectives, key results-nya apa aja. Kita work together to create like throughout 2-week sprints, kita bikin produk, dari segi MVP-nya, kita ideation, conduct hackathon, so kira-kira that's roughly what I did throughout my years in consulting sampai saat ini. Okay, next slide. Alright, so tips and tricks. So tadi aku udah ngebahas tentang my background, terus kira-kira consulting experience aku tuh seperti apa. Sekarang maybe for those of you that's interested mau masuk consulting, I'm gonna share with you my tips and tricks that might work for you all. Jadi yang pertama itu, sorry, is this supposed to go to the next slide? Yeah, thank you. So yang pertama itu, I think internship experience is really important karena itu bakal bantu kalian untuk boost CV kalian untuk bisa membandingkan dengan, karena pasti tentunya pada saat kita lulus itu kebanyakan yang mau apply ke pekerjaan, jadi I think having an internship experience is important, jadi mereka bisa tahu kayak, oh, this person has a previous working experience, jadi dia udah tahu kerja itu seperti apa. So that's an added value that you can have. Pada saat aku kuliah, aku juga magang di beberapa tempat, but it's mostly also in the human capital consulting industry, yaitu di Dunamis sama di Dimensi Indonesia dulu. Lebih khususnya aku di training sama learning development. So one is internship experience, and second one, I cannot stress this more, which is on networking. Jadi ensure that you get to know and stay connected to your friends in college, ataupun misalnya dari tempat magang sebelumnya, who knows that you might need to talk to them one day ke depannya mau ngobrol-ngobrol, kayak exchange ideas. I think it's good to have like a good network around you. Yang ketiga dan keempat itu tentunya pada saat kita masuk consulting, we have an interview and case study. So during an interview, saran aku, you need to understand the job that you're applying to. Dengan baca through LinkedIn, benar-benar memahami kerjanya itu apa. And then kita research on the company, terus practice kita kalau speaking voice kita gimana, body language gimana. Lalu pada saat case study interview, we need to have a structured approach to the way you address the problem and solution. Jadi dipikirkan baik-baik, how articulate you are in showing that you can solve the problem dari segi critical thinking dan problem solving. Dan yang terakhir itu adalah mindset. Mindset ini menurut aku yang paling penting karena having the right mindset and how you face your work itu akan determine how well you are doing in your life and in your career. So those are just my 5 tips. Okay, so that sums up my presentation. I hope that bisa bermanfaat bagi kalian semua, bagi yang tertarik masuk consulting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kak Natasha, for your presentation. It is very informative, and we know a little bit about your experience, like transition from college to consulting juga. As what I can conclude, ya Kak, especially for the tips and tricks to join a consulting after graduation, we must have a internship experience, and also have a networkings also, and do a prior research, and also prepare for our case study interviews. And last but to have a growth mindset, which is very essential to start our career in consulting. Yeah. Okay, Vega, thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you for sending it up.
We're going to proceed next to our second speaker. Okay, so please welcome Kezia Saraswati. She is currently work as a consultant at the Boston Consulting Group at Southeast Asia and also an alumna of Faculty of Engineering, batch 2011. Kezia, the time and floor is yours. Please share your screen, Mira.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So thank you, Amira, for organizing this session. Apologies of the template. Like, it's not like I'm like promoting the firm or something. It's just like a template that comes in handy. Probably a little bit of context of myself. My name is Kezia. I'm a consultant in Boston Consulting Group, Jakarta. I've been with the firm for almost 6 years now. And I think throughout my 6 years in BCG, I've worked mostly in financial institution practice area and public sector practice area, and also a lot of like work and people organization. So I joined BCG straight after college. I previously interned in BCG first during my third year in OE. And then after that, I joined BCG as a business analyst full time. Okay. Please feel free if you have like more questions about my background. I think there's a Slido that team has prepared. For the topic we will discuss today, I think there's 2 sessions that I will help to support. First is this session, and later on we'll have a session 2 for preparation to case interview. I think before I start about my story, given that most of the attendees here are quite like diverse, like first year, second year, third year, fourth year, probably it helps also if we touch a bit about like what is consulting and why do companies hire consultants really. So I think 3 sample cases of an actual case in BCG, right? My company has grown 500 times since the first time my father established this company. But we're not evolving anymore. We need to transform how we do things. Digitization of the world is killing our business. What should we do? We want to do this thing, but my company lacks of expertise in this topic. Can you help? So I would say that consulting firms are like doctors for companies. It's not like you are always sick to come to us, but it might also be that you have a goal, you have an objectives, like diet, like health. I don't know, like Dr. Gizi. Like you come with the objectives, I want to lose weight. Like it's not like I'm sick. I just want to be better. I just want to be leaner, whatever, right? So we are like doctors for companies, and we help companies to achieve what they want, right? Whether it's like higher margin or higher profit margin, better revenue, leaner organization, new product on the market, etc. And I think then why consulting, right? I think to me also consulting provides experience that you cannot get elsewhere. You have industry exposure. There's a lot of diversity of what you do. Like just look at the 3 samples that I give you, right? Everything is different. International experience is third thing. Throughout my career, I've worked in Singapore and in Jakarta and Singapore mostly. But a lot of my friends actually, like if you want, you can like go to a case in Manila, for example. It's personally not my cup of tea because Manila is just too far away and I don't think the food is great, but like you can. A solid career path is a very rigid and clear career path structure. So I think it's helpful also. Now, I think just the last slide on this topic on what is consulting, typical works of what we do, right? I think I wouldn't go, you could read the slide, I wouldn't read through it, but it's a lot of like problem solving first, and second is how you present your recommendation to the client so that they understand, they're able to take it, right? A good strategy is a mere strategy if the client could not work through it. And and a good strategy, if no one understand what you're talking about, like no one will eventually like get it, right? So yes, first is problem solving, two is communication, and third one, I think that is often most consulting firms forgot is enablement. Like, yes, your client is good when you're there, but what happened when you leave? I think that question kind of like embodied in what we do. Like, there's a lot of work that we could do, but if I do it myself without the client wouldn't be able to. So, enablement. Okay, I would skip through that and then my consulting story. So I would say that for some of you that have seen this slide in one of the BCG Connection event, apologies, I'm just like not the best person to make up new slides. I would say that work at BCG is fun, and but life is BCG is awesome. Through my 6 years in BCG, I truly enjoy it. I would say that being in consulting gives you an opportunity to work with real decision makers. Like if your company, for example, if your friends join the company and work with, I know their boss, I work with their CEOs. Like to me, it's very rewarding and it's cool. But at the same time, even when you go up, you always check the reality on the ground. So I think that was one of my case where I work with a U.S. NGO companies to visit wet market for them to really understand what's happening in Indonesia. And these bullets like cannot speak into like truly blonde, and like you just bring them to wet market. It's fun. And life is fun also, right? I think wait. Some of my closest friends right now is actually like from BCG. And like those 4 people, 3 of them had left, but I still meet them. I still have a chat group with them, and I still meet them like on a weekly basis. Yes, and we do have a lot of fun also. This is obviously pre-COVID, yeah. We booked an island for our year-end party with the entire office. So then, I think in the next few slides, I will first talk about the work part of things, and then I'll talk about the life part of things. In the slide that you're seeing right now, if you can see on screen, these are actually all the practice areas that BCG does. There's a functional practice areas, which means topic. There's industry practice areas, which means like actual industry. There's a digital at BCG, and there's a large scale change. So these I screenshotted from BCG like website. You can, if you go to the website, you will see all like the same thing. And you can see how diverse it is of what we're doing. And if you look at the tick marks here, those are all the cases that I've done for my 6 years in BCG. I've done strategy cases, I've done sales and distribution transformation, I've done people and organization strategy. I'm doing currently a digital and IT strategy. I've done a social impact cases with US-based NGO and health and Ministry of Health of Indonesia. Like I said, most of my cases is in financial institutions, but I've also worked with industrial goods where to really look at construction companies in Indonesia, right? And not construction companies, construction industry. Healthcare, like I said, I've worked with the Ministry of Health and a lot of public sector, because you know, like I don't know, like most of like banks, most of companies that are rich enough to hire consulting firms are mostly like state-owned enterprises. Digital ventures is another thing that I've done, which is making a strategy to make a startup for a bank, right? Like they're like, okay, like a lot of these things are happening. How do I take part of the competition? And that's on digital ventures, and I've done a transformation in BCG Turn where I actually work for a year with the same client to really transform them like inside out, right? Everything, like from how they work, how they talk, like how they conduct their meetings, what is the discussion of the meetings. And in these cases, like BCG is not like I'm not a consultant, I'm part of their team. I even join their like offsites and gatherings. So a lot of these things this is how diverse the work in consulting is. So yeah, probably fun. An actual case story that I done, I think this is related to that like blonde boulets picture that I had in the previous slides. I work in an international nonprofit health organization based in US, supporting Indonesian government in a nationwide effort to reduce TB spread and improve patient outcomes. The mandate that was given to the teams is actually develop the insights on patient and healthcare provider behavior through primary research and translate the insights into actionable solutions and prepare for the pilot. I think to me this is like one of the most fun because it's very different. It's a pro bono case. My team is three people in Indo, another three people in the US system. So it almost like it works like a factory. Like I sleep and then they go like they're awake and then they check my work and then they send back and then I work. You know, like it's very fun from the working team environment. Um, and then it's also fun because I think these are one of the cases that I need to fly out to 4 different cities in Indonesia in a week. So it almost feels like I'm a K-pop singer going on tours. So it's also fun that way. And it's also fun that like you actually meet real people. I'm actually conducting interviews with like patients of like tuberculosis patients, right? Which you thought they have like recovered, but actually when we had the interview, oh yeah, I relapsed from my treatment. I'm like, oh shit, like hey, like this person like probably still has tuberculosis. We should get him out. So I think this is an actual case story that we do, and at the end of it, they actually publish a publication with my name on it. That's my first publication outside of my thesis, if you can consider thesis a publication. So like really, I'm not a most academic person, but it's still nice to have like those like artifacts of your life. Then life. These are the pictures of my office. I think in BC Jakarta, I co-lead the social community team, which actually responsible to like make so like office engagement, like make fun stuff happen in the office. So from top, we had like karaoke for sure. We had a movie night. We have a foosball table in the office where we actually have like competitions. Then what is that on the right? I don't know. Oh, that's our year-end party where I think we book count last year. We had a spinning class session, which I know killed me, like literally killed me. I never want to do spinning class again after that. And then that's that's the one where we book one of the island in Pulau Seribu. We went to Puncak, and all new joiners in BCG we need to perform. So those are one of the pictures of the performance. A part of that, we're giving back to Indonesia, right? I think most of these consulting firms can easily be perceived as, I don't know, like those that support capitalism or whatever, right? But that's not true. We do a lot of work to give back to Indonesia. These are all like old pictures, have newer pictures. But yeah, we do a lot of like these pro bono works even now with some of the ministries. Giving back to society, some of you probably were part of the giving back recruiting that we always do like every year. So yeah, we work with all of these social enterprises and help to like grow their businesses. Okay. Then because like this is a OE women in business, I think this is another thing that would be interesting. Women at BCG, right? I think at BCG we try our best to support our women, right? And I wouldn't say that we are perfect already, but we are making like real progress. Almost 20% of the firm's leadership is made of women. Actually, the BCG Southeast Asia head is part of our global executive committee. So like, yay. 40% of our firm's global staff are women, critical for the senior leadership, whatever, right? But I would say that BCG really try to attract and retain women through a lot of like programs. For example, I think we have what we call a flex leave or flex time for not only women, obviously, for most people, but it allows like mothers to work 60-40 in a week, right? So 2 days in a week they will not work, but you still keep your job. And I think like from what I see from the other women figures in BCG also, like really like maternity doesn't have doesn't even give a dent to their career path. They are promoted like the same way, unless they want to take, they probably want to take a longer leave, then that's fine. They would stay, but they probably their promotion will get delayed. But like, what does the 3 months delay mean in the bigger scheme of things? Yeah, I think that was the last slide on my presentation. The next slide, which is for the session 2. But yeah, I hope that gives a better glimpse of what we do, of what I do as a consultant and what we do in BCG also. Yeah.
Okay, Kak Kezia, thank you very much, Kak, for your presentation. It is also very insightful. So I will conclude a little bit from your presentation, Kak. So you talk about your role as a woman consultant, and you talk about why companies should hire consultant, which is consultant. Consultant is actually like doctors for companies, in which you try to make the company better, gitu ya, even though it's they are not sick, gitu ya. And then next, why consulting? You say that the exposure to industries, the diversities, the international experience, and also a solid career path is why you choose consulting. And the typical works that the consultant do, you talk about that also, and you talk about what working in consulting look like. And it actually seems like a very fun office cut from your pictures, actually. And also, BCG is doing a lot of giving back to sessions like to the ministry and also to society. And you also talk about women at BCG also, yeah. So, okay, Kat, thank you very much. It is very, very interesting. And I will proceed to the next speakers, Kat. So next, we're going to continue to our last speaker, which is Bu Lenita. Let's welcome Ibu Lenita Tobing. She is currently work as a partner at Strategy End, part of PricewaterhouseCoopers network, and also an alumna of Faculty of Economic and Business batch 1993. So for Bu Lenita, the time and floor is yours, please.
Thank you, Amira. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, ladies. Thank you so much for the invitation and the opportunity for WIB UI. I think this is a great program, and I think it's great that I could participate in this and share whatever I can share, especially about consulting this afternoon. So, look, I think that you got I don't want you to also have an overflow of consulting knowledge. I think the two previous speaker, Natasha and Kezia, has already, Natasha gave you great tips about, what to do when you want to enter the job, and then Kezia gave you a glimpse of what is consulting, what do we do, because to be honest, it's not, if you're a doctor, it's quite clear what you do, right? But if you're a consultant, like, what is it really, what do you consult about? Thanks Kezia for giving that explanation, so I don't have to explain it again. But it's true. I mean, but to be honest, I'm sure that the two women felt the same. I think it's a very rewarding job, and I think I'd like to share my side of my story, especially that I'm definitely the oldest among everyone here. So let me start. First of all, I would like to tell you guys about, or tell you ladies about me. So if I can proceed to the next slide. So just quick facts about me. So first of all, I am truly blessed, and I love life, and I wake up every morning smiling, and I just, be grateful for everything. So that's about me. And second, I love my family. Family's first. I have my husband is German, and I have a stepson who is in Germany, but my husband lives in Jakarta, and so I have a brother who has a wife and I have a nephew, and then these are my parents. So these are the most important people in my life. So families first. And as mentioned, I think a couple of times now, yes, I am Angkatan 1993. Many of you were probably still your parents haven't probably met yet at that year. So yes, I am 45 years old. Thank you very much. Before anyone asks, I will just say it. So yes, I graduated from Fakultas Ekonomi UI. Angkatan 93. Number 4, I like traveling. So you can imagine right now is not the best times in my life, right? I'm truly depressed because I cannot travel. I love football and sepak bola in this case. Not playing it, but I love watching it. I love going to stadiums. I love watching big games, and I've been going stadiums by stadiums. Again, things that I can't do anymore these days. And I also like fashion. I just like it, but it's not that I'm fashionable, but I just like it. And number 5, I think what I really truly feel, about myself, I'm super passionate about Indonesian nation building. Since I was a kid, so I grew up. My father there in that photo was a diplomat, and we used to live across few countries, and mainly developed countries. And since I was a kid, I always look at these countries and see, what can Indonesia improve? System, capabilities, how they're organized. And I always feel like I want to do something for Indonesia. So obviously you don't know which job, but I've always been passionate about Indonesian nation building, and that will link to my consulting story later on. You'll see. So this is about me. 5 quick facts. So now let's go through my dinosaur journey of consulting. It's on the next slide. So again, unashamed to tell you that I graduated in 1997. So look, I graduated in 1997. As I mentioned, right? I really like Indonesian nation building, but as I think, was it Natasha who mentioned it, like, when you graduate, you don't really know what to say, especially back then in 1997. There was no Google, that you can ask, like, what's the profession and so on. No, there was there is no information or so on. And of course, your parents would say you could either be a doctor or a banker. These are the typical jobs. So back then, look, I graduated from Ekonomi UI, and back then the cool job, i.e. the startups, of the 1990s, were the audit, the accounting firms. Back then, there was Pricewaterhouse, there were EY, even back then there were other firms that I won't bore you with. But basically, long story short, I went to Pricewaterhouse as an auditor assurance. So I worked there for 2 years. I got a bit bored, to be honest, because it's quite you kind of do the same thing. For me, right? Don't tell your audit friends if you have any, but so it was a bit bored for me. So then I took my master in applied finance, thinking that I would like to expand from accounting or auditing to a bit of bigger finance. So then I went to Macquarie University in 2000, and then in 99. And then graduated in 2000. And then I joined PricewaterhouseCoopers, because 98 Pricewaterhouse and Cooper Lybrand merged and then become PricewaterhouseCoopers. I joined their corporate finance team for 2 years, and this was in Sydney, Australia, continuing from my university. Then I thought again, look, it's not really what I like. It's a great job, but it's not really. And again, back to my passion about nation building and so on, I still haven't found what I'm looking for. It sounds like a U2 song, but it's something like that. So basically 2002, I went back to Indonesia. I talked to some alumni, and long story short, there was this thing called strategy consulting. And again, no Google, didn't know about it, but found it through friends, alumni. So there were a few other firms, and then long story short, I joined Booz Allen Hamilton in 2002 until 2006, where there was a restructuring in Booz Allen and they left Indonesia. So I joined Arga Jata Consulting. It's a local consulting firm from 2006 as a manager, and then went on as principal. And then Booz Allen Hamilton restructured, become Booz & Co, and came back to Indonesia. And then I become a partner of Arga Jata and Booz & Co back in 2012. And then Booz & Co was acquired by PwC in 2014, and then 2015 I joined PwC, which the Booz and Co brand got rebranded to Strategy N and then become PwC Strategy N. So if you see my life, it's kind of a full cycle. You know, I came from there. I'm still there, 23 years later, right? But yeah, this is so this is where I am. I'm as mentioned, I'm a partner at Strategy and part of PwC. So I think before I go through, you know, the job, PwC, and so on, I would like to highlight that this job is truly rewarding. So if you go to the next slide, you know this. I'm sure many of you have seen that diagram before. You think that it's impossible. For me, it's actually what it is exactly. So it's truly rewarding when you can find your passion and, you know, what you love, and that's something that you are good at. I mean, I'm not the best at it, but I think I'm quite good at, because that's why I'm here. So you have the capabilities. And number three, that you can make a career out of it. So actually, by the way, it's not a free job, is you get paid out of it. And for me, that's consulting. So, you know, if you look at my journey, right, I found it through, I think I started in, you know, as an auditor in like corporate finance. I tried it, okay. But then when I joined Booz Allen as a strategy consulting, this is finally, I found my dream job. And to be honest, I am excited every day until today. And I'm sure I'll be excited tomorrow. I'll be excited on a Monday, even though I hate Mondays, but I'll truly be excited on a Monday. So I'll tell you why, you know, why I'm excited about consulting and why I'm still here 23 years later, right? So first of all, I think Kezia touched that as well. What we do is truly nation building. Again, back to my passion, nation building, and we make real impact, and we see it, and we feel it, and it's truly rewarding. Yeah. So first of all, why I'm here, I think because, you know, consulting is really what we do is true nation building. And number two, consulting is a continuous learning, and there's new experience every time. Can you believe it? After 23 years, I still learn something new every day, and I still feel some new experience every day. And that's for me very excited. So that's number two. Number three, we work with decision makers and key people in the country. I think, again, Kezia mentioned that. And it's truly awarding, you know, to be in the room with these people, not because you're a fan of these people, but to see how they are, how they lead, how they make decisions. And you, of course, you also learn from them, and then you understand more, you know, everything that, for example, you read on paper. Why did this minister do that? Or why? By being around them and see the dynamics around them, the different stakeholders, you kind of understand why they do that. It's not black and white. And this is truly rewarding as a consultant, being in the midst of that and working with this decision maker and key people in the country. Number four, I think, Kezia touched on that as well. We work with great teams. I mean, teams is everything, right? In consulting, I mean, people is what we have. In being around great teams every day, it really excites me. And number five, consulting is a performance merit career path. It's really performance based. It's not like it's not a like or dislike. I mean, if obviously you have to be in the right firm, but it's really, you know, there's a clear path, there's a clear performance evaluation, how you make it to the next career path, and it's truly performance based, and that's why. So the sky is the limit for you if you want to become a consultant, right? So these are the 5 reasons why I am still here 23 years later. So let me touch a bit on where I work, and again, like Kezia, I'm using this, the template of my firm, of our firm, because I'm just used to it and I do my own slides, so I can't do other templates. So next slide. So Strategy N, as mentioned, is part of a PwC network, and just a bit of PwC, right? PwC has 4 groups in PwC. So one is consulting, and the second one is deals. Deals is, you know, your corporate finance, when you do M&A transactions. The third one is the biggest, the bigger business in PwC, which is assurance, and it is where I come from, my first job there. You know, audit, as audit, and then the fourth one is tax. So where I come from is the first one, which is consulting. And within consulting, we have a few consulting practice, people, technology, and we have we have a strategy consulting, which is called Strategy N. So that's that black box there. It's truly a black box, trust me. So this is where, you know, where Booz and Co. Was, and where I came from, and PwC acquired Booz and Co. and became a Strategy N. So we are globally, we are 3,000 plus consultants in Strategy N around the world, and we are part of PwC. And again, I just want to highlight that PwC's purpose, global, is to build trust in society and solve complex problems. Again, you know, very close to my heart, right? So, this is where I am. What I think what we do, again, Kezia touched a bit on what consulting do, but you know, I won't go through that. But we work with a lot of clients in strategic agenda. So I'm not going to go through the clients, obviously, but I'm just going to show you just a glimpse of the clients that we work on, just on the next slide. So Strategy End is not a big firm within PwC. So we are in Indonesia, we are about 30 plus. In Southeast Asia, we're about 80 plus. So we're not so big. So therefore, we need to focus. So on the next slide, you can see that we are pretty much focused on 5 key sectors, which is energy, utility, resources, consumer industrial products and services, public sector and healthcare, financial services, and telco media technology. Myself, I'm more in the first 3. So energy, utilities, resources. I spend about 60% or 2/3 of my time there, or I would say 60% there. Consumer industrial products about 20%, and public sector about 20%. So this is where I am. So this is just a glimpse. I mean, you know, I'm sure that every consulting firms have all these logos, but I would like to highlight on the next slide, what I'm really, again, passionate and proud of is our work in Indonesia is truly nation building. We really advise the transformation of state-owned enterprises, but also private sector companies. And if you linked what is Indonesia's priority targets in the RPJMN 2020-2024, these sectors, energy, mineral mining, healthcare, maritime, food, tourism, and all these sectors are our priorities. And the 5 programs of Indonesia's growth going forward is around infrastructure, bureaucratic reform, APBN allocation, investment, and also human resources. So really, again, close to the heart. And the clients that we work with on the right side, you know, these are mainly state-owned enterprises and large public sector companies where the topic that we work on are truly strategic and also nation building. And this is very interesting. And again, you know, something that we are really proud of. And myself, I work on the mainly, as I mentioned, in the energy, utility, resources, infrastructure, and also public sector and healthcare. Next slide. So that's about the nation building thing, which I said that it's really, you know, making this job very interesting. And again, and to the next point that I made around that, you know, there's no standard day. And what did you call it? There's no standard day, and every there's no typical day. There is only continuous learning and experience. So this is just an example of agendas of what we do, and it's, as you mentioned, right, it's truly random. You know, you have a breakfast meeting, you have a team, you have a team review session, you have a client meeting, you have a focus group discussion, you have to present in a conference. So a lot of things in one day, and again, truly a continuous learning and experience. Next slide. And as I mentioned, we work a lot with great leaders and decision makers in Indonesia. This is, again, you know, I think Kezia showed photos, and also let me also share photos so you can have more visual thinking of what we do. Basically, this is, you know, this is just recent photos of what I do. And again, because my sector, so 60% of my time I spend in energy, utilities, and mining, as you can imagine, this is a boys' club. So you can see that if you look at the photo in the middle, This is, I don't know if you, I won't bore you with client names, but this is Mind ID. This is the mining holding, which consists of 5 mining SOE, Bukit Asam, Aneka Tambang, Timah, Freeport, and so on. They are all men. These are all the board, the BODs. They're all men. And you can see at the bottom, that's me, the only woman. At the top left, same thing, me, only woman. Obviously, there are other women. When here's with Eric, here's there's more women. But I'm just saying that the sector where I'm in, because we touch about women, as women, don't be afraid to be in a men's world. I think it's actually truly rewarding, and we can actually as women make more make more impact as women, and I think we have a great positioning to work in a men's world. So again, this is how my typical day looks like, and it's as I mentioned, it's a privilege to work and meet these great leaders and working with teams. Next slide. I think again, if I feel like it's a copy paste from Kezia's presentation, look, a team is very important. I love working with my team. Most important asset is our people. We work hard, but we also play hard. If you look at these photos, obviously you won't imagine that we actually work, but I think we actually like to together. We, for example, on the right side, we locked a whole indoor playground for ourselves because we want to compete in the kids indoor playground. If you look at the third photo from the right top, that's my house, my apartment, and the team. We gather there. Obviously, all of this is pre-COVID. We do many activities together, and I think these people are the most talented people I've worked with, and I just really like working with my teams. And then lastly, as I mentioned, this career is truly performance-based. Next slide. Let me close with this, that the career is truly performance-based, and how I got where I got has been through a lot of performance evaluation, and which is very performance-based. And this is truly rewarding. And to close, I really look forward to the rest of my consulting journey, because I'm sure that the best is yet to come. Thank you. That's my sharing. And thank you for listening. And thank you, moderator, for giving me the extra minutes.
No worries, Boo. Okay, thank you very much, Lenita, for the presentation. It is very interesting and very insightful. So I will conclude a little bit from your presentation. You really love your job, since consulting is really the combination of your passion, your capability, and also your career, or the so-called ikigai, Boo. And you talk about your role as a woman in the industry, and so far we only hear good things from you, especially about your role. Yeah. You emphasize a lot on continuous learning and experience. You also work with great leaders and decision makers from cross organizations, and also you had a good work hard, play hard culture in the company, which is seems like a very fun culture to have, especially in a very tough job like management consulting. Okay, so again, thank you very much, Lenita, for the very insightful session. So next, we will continue with a moderated session and also a Q&A session. So feel free for our participants to put your questions in our Slido. Okay, so maybe I will juggle the questions maybe to Lenita, to Kezia, and to Natasha. Okay, so first, I would like to ask about what are the major turn-offs from a candidate during an interview phase? Maybe Lenita wants to start first.
Okay, thank you. That's actually a tough question. But look, I think for me, it's first and foremost, maybe because I am a passionate person. When I interview someone and that person is not energized and feels like complicate things and in short, I would say not positive. Okay, it's not being judgmental, but when a person is not positive, not passionate, and again, as I think Almira, you mentioned, right, that this is a tough job, and you need to be energized and finding that balance. And being 20 plus years in the business, I know when you see a candidate and you say he or she is not right for this, right? Because of that. So I would say the attitude and the positiveness and the energy. That would be the turn on, and obviously the turn off is the opposite. So when someone comes not energized and even super smart, but not positive, I think for me personally is a turn off.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Lenita, for the answers. How about Kak Kezia? What do you think is the turn off from the candidate?
Yeah, so like turnoffs, I'm part of recruiting team, and I think instead of the turnoffs, I would actually see like what is the loopholes of all the UE candidates or like joining interviews, right? You just think that you're not good enough somehow. Like you just think that I don't know, like I'm from like local graduates, local uni, like so that I'm probably not as good as my other like I know like Berkeley friends or like the other candidates from other places, right? I think that is very dangerous to think that even before going to a competition that you think that you are going to lose. So yeah, I wouldn't say that's as a turn off, but that's obviously a loophole.
Okay. Okay, Kak. Thank you, Kak. How about Kak Natasha? What do you think, Kak, about the
Yeah.
turn
Okay,
off?
so following from Ibu Lenita and Kezia, I think I would agree with Ibu Lenita. If for example interviewer comes into an interview with a lot of passion, I think that's a major turn on. But so one of the turn offs, I've had a case when I was recruiting someone, and when I asked this person like, okay, where do you see yourself like in the next 2 years? Kamu tuh mau bekerja di mana, or like cita-cita kamu apa? And this person basically said, okay, oh saya nggak begitu ambitious sih mbak, saya cuma mau go with the flow aja. So I think that explains a lot about person. Like you need to be like aggressive into knowing what you want in a healthy way. Jadi dari segi itu juga, dan mungkin yang kedua being late. I think if by being late it tells about how your personality is juga. Dengan kita datang terlambat kan berarti we're not bisa dibilang kayak mungkin kurang disiplin or like in a timely manner. It can tell a lot about a person. So I think the turnoffs are one about tardiness. Yang kedua, you need to have that drive and that passion. Because working in consulting, you also need to have that like that growth mindset. You have to be receptive dengan tekanan yang banyak, high pressure environment. Jadi menurut aku itu sangat penting sih. So those are just two sharing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Kak Natasha, for your answers. Okay, so I will continue to our next question, which is what you wish you knew before getting into your job. Maybe I'll start with Kak Kezia.
But I wish I knew that. I wish I knew that it is always hard in the beginning, but it will get easier. I would say. Like I think everyone said that consulting is very hard. I would not disagree with that, but I would say that as it gets tougher, you'll get better, and then the cycle goes back because then you get better, then you get bored, then you get a new challenge, then it's hard again, and then it's easy again. And it's always a cycle like that.
I see. Okay, okay. Okay, how about Kak Natasha? What do you think, Kak? What you wish you knew before getting into consulting?
So I think before I joined consulting, I wish that I knew more on how work and life. Karena I think saat ini tuh we're all struggling with having that balance. Jadi menurut aku sekarang tuh I just wish I knew more about how to balance and set healthy boundaries for myself between work and my personal life. Dan itu juga I also believe to some extent that right now tuh maybe there is not so much of a work-life balance, but it's more on how you integrate work and life together. Tapi you're being able to like commit 100% ke dalam setiap aspek itu. So to your question, Almira, that's my answer. Mungkin lebih ke I wish I knew how to balance my work and life priorities better gitu.
Okay, Kak. Sip, thank you. Kalau untuk Lenita, what do you think about this question?
Gosh, I can't even remember when I started joining. So I think that's a difficult question. I don't know. I can't. Well, maybe I wish I knew that this job existed before. And again, without the Google and everything, I couldn't knew. Sorry, I can't remember what I wish I knew. Udah kelamaan eh.
Okay deh. Okay. Then I'll continue to our next question ya. Mungkin about ini how do you create a good balance between work and personal life? Karena kita tahu kalau misalkan di consulting itu kerjanya sampai malam, bahkan sampai pagi, terus nanti paginya udah harus di client side lagi gitu. What is your answer? Mungkin bisa start dari Natasha kali ya.
Ya, oke. So ini mungkin kayak berhubungan sama my answer tadi ya tentang how to set like healthy boundaries gitu. Jadi mungkin pada saat aku fresh graduate mungkin I felt like maybe I didn't really know how to set boundaries for myself. Jadi apapun I say yes to everything even though maybe it affected like me mentally dan secara physically bisa sampai mungkin sakit-sakitan. So that was just a bit of my worst part working consulting karena dengan kayak pace yang sangat cepat. Jadi menurut aku dari situ aku belajar kayak okay, you don't need to say yes to everything. Kalau emang kalau misalnya emang nggak bisa dikerjain sekarang, you can always like do it later. Set a list
Your connection is a little bit.
Dan intinya di consulting, tapi juga, sorry, did I get cut off ya? Halo?
Can you
oh ya,
repeat
tadi putus. Sure, oke. Tadi terakhir di mana ya aku ngomongnya? Takut ngulang.
Kayaknya it's okay Kak, just repeat it. It's okay karena tadi aku juga kurang nangkep juga.
Oke, jadi mungkin ini berkaitan dengan my previous question, my previous answer when I said how to balance work and life. Jadi menurut aku intinya I believe in the mentality of having that hustle mentality where you need to work hard and then achieve your dreams. Apalagi kerja di consulting yang banyak pressure-nya. Cuman I also believe in the power of rest juga, like taking care of yourself juga, because I believe that work actually does not define you. Like you need to have that balance aja sih between working and like taking care of yourself.
Okay, Natasha. Thank you Kak for your answer.
Yep.
Mungkin bisa ke Bu Lenita kali ya. What do you think Bu about creating a good balance between work and personal life?
Okay, I think first of all I would like to and this is something that I also found late. Maybe that was actually the question that I should that's actually the answer that I should have answered in the previous question. So maybe understanding what is the real meaning of work-life balance, because I think work-life balance is different for everyone, right? And work-life balance is not about work-life balance is 10 hours of work, 6 hours of sleep, and whatever, right? So I think first of all I would like to just share with everyone that the definition of work-life balance, you have to define it yourself because it's different for every person. And I've seen people juggling being a mother and working and so on, and still she feels that my life is balanced because she get the balance from the juggling with the child. So anyway, so on that, so first of all, the first step is you need to find out what is your work-life balance. What does it look like? What do you feel like? And so let me share for myself. Actually, consulting is the job if you'd like to have the right work-life balance. Why? Because consulting is as I mentioned, performance-based, output-driven. So it's all about the results. It doesn't matter whether you do it when, you do it where, as long as you deliver the deadlines. And of course, in the beginning, you have to learn, and you have to learn how to do it. You have to be, first of all, good at it and know how to deal with it, right? But once you know how to do it, and you have to like it, obviously, right? Once you know how to do it, once you like it, actually, this is the best job of work-life balance, because you can pace yourself. You can suddenly siang mau ke salon gitu kan ya, like in the middle gitu, and then you start again and you juggle between it, especially with this type of virtual meetings, right? You can really do a lot in between, and I feel that once you determine what is the meaning, what work-life balance makes you happy, and then second, and then you combine that you have to be good at it, and you have to like what you do, then you just do it. For you is the most important is to deliver the deadlines, is to deliver what the client wants, is to understand what is outcome, and then and that's the most important. So how do I juggle it? So I measure myself. Okay, this is a meeting that I have. Okay, this is the result that I need to have. And then in between, what do I do? And again, and having that is number one. Number two, I have my downtime. So even though I work till past midnight on weekdays and so on, I always, and this is a discipline of mine, on Saturday, I do not even check my emails or WhatsApp, especially now because you are constantly online, and even if you read it, you don't do anything, it's on your mind, right? And that's distracting. So I think to keep your sanity, you have to block your time, and it could be like it again depends on your schedule, depends on what is balanced for you. For me, the Saturday, unless there's an urgent client meeting or something that I know of, I don't read my WhatsApp email. I don't read my I don't read my working email or WhatsApp. So I really, relax, chill, and then usually Sunday afternoon I start again, and then the works become. But in between work, and back to my first point, if you guys are consultant in between work, try to find something that you like. Try to have the coffee with, or I like coffee, right? So try to have the coffee chat with someone. Try to meet someone. Try to spend time with your family. Just even though it's half an hour, 1 hour, but it just gives you that balance. For me, it gives you, it gives me a nice boost in the middle of the day. So again, sorry for the long answer. You need to find out what is the work-life balance means to you. Then try to juggle around your days, even if it's half an hour coffee chat, whatever, and try to have a downtime where you just stop. Yeah. Could be a day, could be 6 hours, whatever, but just have that to have your sanity. That's my long answer to your short question. Sorry.
No worries. Thank you, Lenita, for the answer. Now with Kak Kezia, what do you think about this? How do you create a good balance between work and personal life?
To me, I completely agree with what Bulenita is saying, right? Personal boundaries is obviously the first thing. But I think first is, I know, like, I sometimes, to me, I just need to accept that is gonna be hard. Like, I think it's still related to my previous question, right? Work-life balance is important, but accept that it will be hard and it will get better. I think then, like, if you there's a moment where you feel like your work-life balance is hard, is challenging, like, also accept that it's a phase and it will eventually end. Then my third thing would be learn to multitask. Now, like, I'm staying at home and I just find out like the beauty and the enjoyment of cooking. So then I have calls where I like cut vegetables, like I'm cooking. So learn how to multitask. And I think the last one is to find a personal support system that understand your work. It's not the easiest job. Like, yes, it can take some time. Like, for example, I know, like when you see your friends like go home at 5 p.m., right? Just understand that, yeah, they do, but I won't. So then, like, find friends that like understand that and when they meet up with you, like, you can only come like at 7:30, right? And they don't make you feel guilty about it. So I think work-life balance is a concept. The people around you will support the concept as long as you have people around you that understand the concept that you are having and not giving you shit about it. I think that's also important.
Okay. Okay, Kak. Thank you for your answers. Now, mungkin I'll ask Kak Natasha a specific question, Kak. Kak Natasha, are you here? I couldn't see you, Kak. Okay, maybe I'll ask another question for Bu Lenita dulu kali ya, Bu. We are quite curious, Bu, about one thing sebenarnya. Why does most C-level in the big firms, for example, like Big Four company, are mostly men? Is it harder for women to climb up the ladder? And what do you think about it? Mm-hmm.
Okay, tough question. So look, I think in Big Four, so I speak for Big Four in general first. Yeah, I think in Big Four, to be fair, there are more. I think I think more and more women are in the top leadership. Why? Because of the type of work that the Big Four do. As I mentioned, the typical Big Four, they have this the four practices that I mentioned in my presentation, like in PwC, right? You have consulting, you have deals, you have tax, and you have audit. when it comes to audit and tax, I think the work is getting more predictable, meaning that you can actually, like, for example, stop for a day. So you can if you are like a working mother, you work 4 days a week or 3 days a week or so on, because it's more predictable. And I think more and more partners are in the audit and tax. And if you talk about PwC, I would say almost 50% of the audit partners and tax partners are women. For the audit and tax partner are women, right? So if you talk about Big Four, I think for audit and tax, I think there's no problem. The problem is on the other side, which is my side, right? The consulting and deals, which are different because the work are different. It's less predictable. It's very dynamic, and I think deals as well. I mean, when you make a deals, when you make an M&A, sometimes you don't sleep. And so in our deals practice in Indonesia, there's no women in deals, right? And that's the third part of PwC. The fourth part, consulting. So out of the 5 partners, 2 are women, myself, and there's a senior lady called Ibu Marna Tusin, who is, by the way, also UI graduate, psychology, but she's 20 years more senior than me, so you can imagine how many years more senior than you. So but we are both women, and I think we are also struggling in the succession, that we don't have enough women to also make the balance, right? So that's because the work, right? The work, so consulting deals, the dynamics and having that, and it's not easy. You can argue that, di Indonesia harusnya easy kan, if you have children, you have a babysitter, you have all this. True. I mean, again, I can't speak for that. Again, I don't have a child here in Indonesia. So, but I think still it is difficult for a couple of things. So one is that work-life balance that we talked before, that how to prioritize your family, and still as a woman, at the end of the day, you have to be hands-on to the household, and I think that's tough when you have that job that is unpredictable, like consulting and deals. A second, also because the client that we deal with, again, is mainly men, and I think a lot of women also are not too comfortable. I think that's why I was really encouraging you, and that's why I showed you all my photos, that it's okay to be around men, and actually you have a privilege and you have a great positioning when you are a woman among men. But there's a lot of women that don't yet feel that, and that's why when you are in the world of men, and consulting and deals is very tough, and many women don't go to the top because they don't feel comfortable in having those roles. So this is probably my observation. So to your question, Big Four, I think if you want to be an auditor and tax, and I think it's doable, and because it's more predictable, and in PwC 50% are already women, but the other side is because of those challenges. I think that's why there are less women in the leadership.
I see. Okay, thank you, Bu, for the answers. Now I would like to continue to the Q&A session, there's a lot of interesting questions actually in our Slido. The first is, could you share the case that you got during the interview, and how did you prep for it? Maybe this question maybe more suitable for Kak Natasha and Kak Kezia kali. Mungkin I'll start with Kak Natasha first.
Okay. Jadi there are 2 different cases that I worked on, karena aku pertama masuk with Saraswati. Jadi pada saat aku masuk with Saraswati itu, I was given the case like a PDF file through email, and I had 2 days to solve it. Jadi I had time to work it at home, and the case was about merger and acquisition. Jadi pada saat itu ada 2 companies yang mau merger, dan dari segi human capital itu apa yang harus kita lakukan. So dari segi itu, my solution was having organization design. Jadi dengan org design itu kita menentukan struktur organisasi, karena tentunya pada saat company 2 mau merger kan tentunya ada beberapa, let's say, struktur yang berubah-berubah, ada function yang mungkin tidak dibutuhkan lagi, tergantung cost yang mereka mau save apa enggak. Jadi that was the first case on organization design. Yang kedua case was on the spot, jadi I had an interview, ditanya-tanya, and then the next week I had the case interview on the spot. So we had it over coffee, and basically it was about the question about dia ada sharing juga. So what was the best way for them to be able dan biar bisa
off lagi karena tanya. Halo Kak? Okay, Kak Natasha, I think your connection is a little bit off. Jadi mungkin I'll juggle the question to Kak Kezia first, and maybe nanti later boleh di redo nggak ya Kak answers-nya? I think karena Kak Natasha juga nggak connect ya. Mungkin I'll go to Kak Kezia dulu ya Kak. Oh, the question is. Sorry ya Kak.
Oh, I'll park my answer to the second session if you're still doing it.
Okay. Okay, Kak Natasha, it's gone lagi ya. Okay, then I will continue to our next Q&A, which is as a fresh graduate, is it better to intern at consulting than apply as a BA or a full-time in the other industry at first? And what kind of companies are preferred? This question is from Kak Biani from Teknik Industri 2016. So Kak Biani, if you are here, please give a thumbs up so we can see you. Or maybe just turn on your camera, please. Yeah, thank you, Kak. Maybe this question first, I'll go to Kak Kezia, if it's okay.
I think tough question. Depends on what you want, right? Both has perks of it. I would say that like delaying it doesn't necessarily give you an edge on recruiting. I would say. So I don't know actually the answer. To me, like within business analyst and intern, like in BCG, right? You are just exposed to two different things, right? And if you like, even when you join as an intern, doesn't necessarily mean that you can join as a business analyst. You know, so like if you actually want to do that for a long term, then apply for business analyst shouldn't be totally like a scary part also. The reason why I joined as a BCG as a summer intern first because it was a summer internship when I was a third year. It's not like I have graduated. If you have a chance to do summer internship in BCG, I cannot speak for other firms. Yeah, and then yes, obviously you should take it, like be it like summer internship or giving back. But if you are aiming for the internship after you graduate, it doesn't really like I don't mean much more.
I see. Okay, thank you. Maybe next I will ask this question to Bu Lenita. What do you think, Bu, about this question? Is it better to intern at consulting than apply as a BA or full-time in the other industry first? What do you think about that?
I think if you ask me at consulting, to anyone, whatever you want to, what you want to become, consulting is always the best bet when you graduate because it really exposes you to anything and everything, right? So even though you know in your heart, I want to be the next Sri Mulyani, I think still consulting is a good first step. So I would say 100%. If you have the opportunity to intern at a consulting firm and if I may, like more management consulting, not the specific. So I think like at BCG, at Deloitte, or at Strategian or something like that, right? McKinsey or others, right? It's always a great experience, and you will get even if it's 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, you will not lose that time. You will get the reward.
Yeah, I think jumping on what Lenita said, the learning curve is very steep, like in consulting. Like this is a joke probably, but like we say that life in consulting 1 year is like 7 years in outside world because you just learn so much more. So I agree that like Like rather than delaying, yeah, just jump on it.
It's a no regret move. It's a no regret decision.
I see. Okay, okay. Okay, maybe Kak Natasha, are you there? Okay. For Kabiani, if the answer already answered your question, please just give us a thumbs up, please. Okay, that's great. Thank you, Kak. I will continue to our next question. This is from Rara from Accounting Batch 2017, which is how do you deal with and manage different types of clients from different types of background? Maybe this question I will give to Bu Lenita first.
Thanks for the question, and I think this is something that that you may not realize, but this is that you actually learn again. Quoting what Kezia was saying, that 1 year consulting equals to 7 years, because you actually deals with so many types of people, right, throughout your project, including your team, by the way, because you know, unlike in a company, right, you have your manager and then you have your team every day. Yeah, there will be a team switch maybe every 6 months, every 1 year. We switch teams every 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, right? Different projects. So not only that you will deal with different type of people at your clients, but also with you know, within your team. And this is something that actually what makes it rewarding and makes you learn more. So how do you deal with it? First of all, I think you should first, when you start any projects or with any clients or with any teams, first try to get to know the situation. Listen, try to understand, try to get to know your clients, try to get to know your team, how they look like, what are their priorities, what are they like. So try to first observe and understand. And then from the observe and understand, then you kind of learn. I mean, especially when you enter to, you know, you're part of a team, you have a manager, you have a partner, and see how they operate in this client, right? See how they lead it, because they have more experience than you, obviously, and then see how they operate and look at them, and then and then you try to participate, because if you are only an observer throughout the whole project, you will not learn, and this is actually the experience. So after you understand the situation, you observe, you see how your seniors are dealing with these different type of clients, then you try out yourself. And of course, at your clients, you know, there's many levels, right? I think the photos that we've all shown are the chairman, the CEO, so, but you work with all levels, and try to work with your counterpart, you know, the manager in that company, the operations team or whatever. So you have to interact with them. You will find that some discussion will be unpleasant, but you will find pleasant discussion too. And this is where you learn, right? Because this is where you will learn that your view is not the right, it's not the only view. And if you see that this is black, other people will see that this is gray, or, you know, if you look at from here, it's gold, right? So this is where you learn that people will see different perspectives. So I think you have to be. So the tip is you have to listen, you have to observe, you have to also be open-minded, right? You cannot force your opinion, and you think that this is what's best. This is what I did it last time in my other project, and I will do it again. And so be also open-minded, and this is how you deal with it. And you will see it's very rewarding. You'll have nice conversation. You'll have not so nice conversation at other times. It is the life of a consultant, but I think that's part of the whole experience. I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah, okay. If this answer your question, just please give us a thumbs up. And maybe I will juggle this question also to
Thank you.
Natasha. So, Natasha, how do you deal with different clients, and how do you manage this kind of different types of client from different types of background, Kak?
Okay. So sebelumnya mungkin sorry ya kalau tadi internet aku putus-putus. Hopefully sekarang udah nggak putus lagi. Jadi in terms of stakeholder engagement, menurut aku during your college years ada pentingnya if you're like terlibat di dalam organisasi, karena itu you get to deal with a lot of types of people kan. Jadi itu bisa help you prepare untuk nanti pada saat kita masuk consulting, kita how to deal with different people, gimana kita bisa berbicara dengan the other stakeholder. So I think in your college life, sebisa mungkin take that advantage of working about organisasi, like interning, get as much as exposure, talking to other people, karena itu akan melatih dan mengasah kita juga pada saat kita deal with stakeholders, pada saat kita kerja beneran. So one of the things yang aku lakuin itu biasanya, menurut aku communication itu is very important and is a part of listening. So sebisa mungkin, like when you're having a communication with your stakeholder, itu you try to understand from their position, and then you have like the backup and like the information to back it up to whatever they are suggesting or they're saying to you. Jadi in terms of stakeholder itu tentunya, so throughout my career kan industrinya beda-beda dan cycle project itu cepat-cepat. Jadi bisa jadi 1 minute I'm in a project yang misalnya setahun, terus tiba-tiba cuma 3 bulan, 6 bulan, itu berarti kita harus punya mindset yang juga cepat beradaptasi juga. Jadi cepat-cepat kayak misalnya, and we cannot really expect our like project managers or like our senior partners to actually like sit down with us and explain kayak, okay Tasha, this is what you need to do, blah blah blah. They kind of leave it up to us, kayak they will brief you, tapi kita harus lebih inisiatif untuk kayak bisa beradaptasi dengan cepat, learning everything we can tentang projectnya. Jadi, so I hope, does that answer your question, Amira, in terms of stakeholder engagement?
Okay, Ra, does this answer your question, Ra? Okay, thank you. And the last one, I will are you finished, Kak? Udah selesai kan ya?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
I'll put the question to Kak Kezia. What do you think about this question?
Like the other speakers have covered very well, but I think it's always good to start with kindness. Try to be kind, and like people will eventually open up most of the time. When they don't open up, understand that it's not them. It's probably something at the back of their head. Like it could be like multiple things. It could be because they are afraid that you will tell like their boss that they're not doing their job properly. It might be because like they don't trust you, or maybe because like they see you as a kid, like they don't want to like. But like generally, like everyone is kind, and I always believe that because like you come with all of the good intentions, people will always open up at the end. The treatment will always be different from people to people, but yeah, kindness will always prevail.
Okay, Kat, thank you for your answer. So this will conclude our Q&A session actually. Actually, there's still a lot of questions that actually are very good. However, we're supposed to go to our next session, which is the Ace Your Case interview. Okay, for this session is actually for Kak Kezia, but for Bu Lenita and Kak Natasha, feel free to join us because next we will have like a case interview, and we would like to have your feedbacks for our participants also. Yeah. Right now we are going to continue to our next session, which is your case interview with Kak Kezia. Okay, so before we start, actually, we already have the list of names, Kak, yang akan nanti bakal present actually about the case itself. And I will try, we'll have a draw first. Nanti orang-orang yang kepilih nih bakal jadi orang-orang yang present gitu ya. Okay, okay, so this is like a heads up aja buat teman-teman yang nanti yang ternyata kepilih. Don't be discouraged gitu ya, maksudnya jangan takut untuk nanti nge-present juga, karena ini juga this is a learning experience for everybody juga gitu, dan kapan lagi kan bisa di case interview langsung sama Bu Lenita, sama Kak Kezia, dan sama Kak Natasha juga gitu. So aku akan coba ngedraw sekarang juga dulu ya, buat teman-teman business education, boleh tolong di draw dulu namanya. Okay, so we have Catherine Kurniawan. Catherine Kurniawan, are you here right now, Catherine? Untuk Catherine, apakah ada di call ini? If you're here, please turn on your mic because maybe I will ask you a couple of questions first.
Maybe we could like draw once again, because
Sure. Okay, because Catherine is not here, yeah. Okay, we will draw once again, yeah. And I just got a heads up from my team that abis ini Bu Lenita ternyata ada acara ya Bu, ada meeting. I'm so sorry, baru tahu banget. Jadi untuk Bu Lenita, feel free if you have any closing statements for us. The time is yours. Yeah, okay, I will say the name first.
Okay, no, I think I'm sure you have like exciting case study session after this. But first of all, thank you for everything, and thank you to Panitia. And I think this organization is great, and happy to look. I'm at PwC Strategy, and so if you want any questions, you can go to the website. You can email me. You can go through the WIB and UI. But I wish you all the best, and I hope that this session was helpful and valuable for your future journey. Thanks a lot, guys or ladies. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much for your time, Bu.
Bye.
Bye. Oke, aku bakal balik ke sessionnya tadi. Tadi kalau nggak salah yang kepilih itu Nurul ya, Nurjana, if I'm not mistaken. Apakah Nurulnya lagi ada di sini? Kayaknya based on list of participants nggak ada di sini ya. Oke, jadi gini deh, daripada kita ngedraw lagi tapi nanti orangnya nggak ada, what if di sini apakah ada yang mau mencoba untuk mempresent case interview-nya nanti? Boleh banget langsung ditulis di comment session-nya atau langsung turn on your mic because I want to know. Just let us know gitu ya kalau misalkan ada dari kalian yang ingin mencoba untuk present case interview-nya.
Halo.
Halo, siapa itu?
Biani, is it okay if I try?
Oh, sure. Okay. Untuk Kak Biani, nanti Kak Kezia bakal ngejelasin dulu nih first about what is case interviews and how to do case interviews, and then nanti Kak Kezia juga akan memberikan kayak semacam case interviews juga. Mungkin aku boleh tahu dulu nggak, Kak Biani sebelumnya udah pernah case interviews atau belum, dan like what level do you think, like your confidence level sih Kak, kayak how big it is?
Well, pernah case interview. For confidence level, I think maybe 6 because it's kind of like in early stage of recruitment. So I think I still have a lot to learn.
Okay, sure. Okay, Kat. So we'll continue to our next session, which is your case interview for Kak Kezia. The time and place is yours. Feel free if you want to share your screen, Kak.
Okay, can. Wait, yeah. Why, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, I would speak on behalf of my experience, which is BCG. I think probably like all the MBBs or most consulting firms are the same, but there are 3 key skill sets that we're looking for in a case, not in a case, but in recruiting and the new candidates, right? One is effectiveness and impact. How, for example, like this is where all of your previous uni experience and background makes the difference. Like how well are you? Like what is your what is the strength of your CV? Explain what you have, blah blah blah. And also here, like, do I sense that you are practical and effective on doing your job, right? Because like in consulting firm, yes, we are our asset is mostly people, and we are paid a lot of money by our client to advise them, right? So we want to make sure that whoever that we bring to the pool are actually a good role model for BCG and a good like example of BCG consultants in the future. So that's effectiveness and impact. On the practicality and effectiveness bit, I would say that in a project, because we are working on a tight timeline, on a very rigid timeline, we want to make sure that you are practical on approaching a problem, and also resourceful, right? Means that you will try your best, but then you will find creative ways to do what you are supposed to do. Then obviously the problem solving and the insights bit, like can you structure a problem? Are you clear on the questions? Can you follow through your structure and come up with a clear recommendation? Are you stating the non-obvious? Are you going deep on the problems, right? That is on problem solving and insights. Then the last one would be in communication presence. Like generally, like, are you able to manage a conversation, manage a relationship? Is your wordings and phrases and like how you speak is clear for me to understand? Are you displaying confidence? I think those are all covered in communication and presence. Now, going to the case, right? Mostly for business analysts, for local graduate entry level, it's called business analyst in BCG. It will probably be different with Deloitte because Natasha is a business analyst in Deloitte. The most basic case is market sizing. So this is an example, right? You can read through that, but my own case interview when I joined, I think that was my summer internship experience, so 7 years back. The case was how many Twitter posts was posted in Indonesian year. You know, it can be like just that. The more senior or the higher your cohort, the entry level, for example, like graduates from Stanford or Harvard undergrad will join BCG as an associate, right? Which is 1 year above business analyst. Like they might have like more complicated questions, like, you know, P&L, marketing, go-to-market strategy, etc. But mostly for business analyst level, we give them market sizing. So this is the case, right? The client is a car manufacturer company based in Bangladesh that is looking to enter the Indonesian market. Now, before they put their investment up, they're looking on estimated size of Indonesian car market. Right? How many cars are sold in Indonesia in a year? Okay, Biani. 5 minutes to do question flooring clarification. Then you have 15 minutes to solve the case on your own. Then present back to me. Then we can have, I will challenge you, I will discuss it with you, and then over.
Okay, so thank you for the case. So our client is a car manufacturer company, which is looking to enter the Indonesian market, and we have to estimate the size of Indonesian car market. What I would like to ask first is maybe about the car manufacturer itself. Are they a family car manufacturer? What kind of cars are they looking for to estimate the size in Indonesia? I think that's first.
Yes, good question. There are passenger vehicle car.
Okay, passenger vehicle car. Okay, and the type of car that they're looking to export into Indonesia is a family car with what size? Is it a 4-seated car or 2-seated cars?
I don't understand the definition of passenger car, because a car is a car if it's a passenger vehicle car. A Lamborghini and Avanza are both passenger vehicle car.
Okay, sure. All right. How many? Okay. All right. So I think I would like to take some time to build my structure first. Then I would present it to you. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so
okay.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry. If it's still okay to ask some questions, I would like to ask a last question, which is the type of the cars in terms of the pricing of the cars. I would like to ask if they're looking to estimate the size of Indonesian car market on in general, or just for example, the premium class or like the average class in terms of price?
No, just in general.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Other participants, feel free to work on on yourself. Yeah. This is for everyone.
Yes, I would like to emphasize that too. Seperti yang udah Kak Kezia bilang juga, untuk other participants, feel free to join the case interviews. Kalian coba bikin aja kayak kalau menurut kalian jawabannya yang benar tuh kayak gimana, jawaban yang menurut kalian tepat. Terus nanti kalau misalkan untuk Kak Biani sendiri udah memberikan solutions dan Kak Kezia udah memberikan kayak feedbacks, coba nanti bisa di-compare juga kan ya Kak. Bisa di-compare antara jawabannya Kak Biani dan jawaban-jawaban teman-teman dari participants yang lain juga gitu. Oke, thank you all.
Actually, I don't keep track of time. Almira, are you keeping track of time?
To be honest Kak, I'm not also, tapi aku akan coba cek ke teman aku dulu ya Kak sebentar. So sorry for that.
Okay, Biani, are you done?
Hello. Yes, I'm done. All right.
Cool.
So sure. For the number of cars that are sold in Indonesia in a year, I estimate this with three variables. First of all, the number of households in Indonesia. Why do I use household is because usually in Indonesia, people who are buying cars are people who are over 30 years old, and they usually already have a family and therefore a household, and who are already financially capable. So the number of households in Indonesia is, I estimate that from the population size of Indonesia, which is 250 million, that I run it down to 200 million for simplicity, and then divide that by the average number of people in a household in Indonesia, which is 4 people. So from that number, we get 50 million households in Indonesia. So that's for the first variable. And then for this will be multiplied with the percent of households that have cars, and also the average number of cars in each household, because usually maybe family Indonesians do not only have one car, but they can also have 2 or even 3 cars in each household. So I think it's also important to see the average number of cars in each household. So for the percentage of households that have cars, I estimate this from the economic class of people in Indonesia. So people who are in poverty line can be estimated around 10% of people. And then since Indonesia is a developing country, majority of it is in the middle class and in the lower middle class who owns bike instead of cars. And I could estimate that number into 50%. So around 60% of Indonesian people might not own cars. So that means that 40% of the households, so that would mean that there will be 40% of Indonesian population who have at least one car. And then, so we get that number, 40%. And then for the last variable, which is the average number of cars in each household, I again estimate this from Indonesian population size economical level. So people who are in the upper middle class, usually they own more than one car, which comprises around maybe 10% of the Indonesian population, Indonesian households. And we can say that these 10% own two cars, and then the middle class of those who own cars usually only have one car. And they comprise 90% of those who have cars. 90% of those who have cars. So if we calculate that, 10% times 2 and then 90% times 1 per 2, we would get around 1.5 cars. So there would be an average of 1.5 cars in each household. So we get 50 million, 40 times 50 million, which is the number of households in Indonesia, times the percentage of households that have at least one car, which is 40%, times 1.5 cars, which is the average number of cars in each household. And we would get 20 million times 1.5 cars, which becomes 30 million cars as a market size in Indonesia. I think that would be the market size.
But the question is not the number of cars in Indonesia, it's how many cars are sold in Indonesia.
All right. How many cars are sold in Indonesia in a year? Oh, okay. All right. So, yep, those are the cars that are owned, right? And then for the ones that are sold in Indonesia, it would come from two sources, which is first the growth of the market size itself, because maybe there are people who are climbing the ladder and they are able to purchase cars. That's first, and then second would be the replacement of cars. So maybe people who own car right now, because the lifetime of car is limited, maybe they want to purchase new cars. So they would purchase new cars, and that would be another source. So let's say that the growth of the car market is around, let's say, 5% a year. 5% a year. Okay. And then for the people who purchase the cars, who repurchase their cars, since we can estimate maybe the average lifetime of a car could be 5 years. Does that make sense? 5 years. Yep. 5 years. So on average, the percentage of people in a year who will replace their car would be 1 per 5, which is 20% of the market size. So this means that the car that will be sold in a year would be 5% times the current market size, the current number of cars that are owned in Indonesia, which is 30 million, plus 20% times 30 million. That would be 5 times 30 would be 1.5 million, plus 20% times 30 would be 6 million, which is 7.5 million of cars sold in Indonesia in a year. So I think that would be the answer.
Thank you, Biani. Thank you. Any comments from the other participants? Mira, there's someone in the group. Probably Kamil has another answer.
Okay, Kat, is it okay if there's another answer from like?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, sure. Kamil, please give us your answer about this market sizing question. Just
Oh,
open your please and yeah.
Hello, Kak Almira, Kak Biani, and Kak Kezia. I'd like to present my answer. So I use a top-down approach. I estimate the number of people in Indonesia is 300 million, yeah. And Indonesia has a normal distribution country because it's a developed country. So I divide it into 4 types of people, yeah. There's 20% of children, 30% of teenage, 30% adult, and then 20% seniors or elderly. And then I think that only the adult 30% of Indonesia population, which is 90 million, is the one who might buying a car. And then so there are 90 million adult in Indonesia, and I estimate there is 50% female and 50% male, and so it made up 45 million family in Indonesia. And then from that 45 million family, I guess not all of them could afford a car, and so I estimated only 20% of them could afford a car, and so the 20% from 45 million is 9 million 9 million cars in Indonesia, and then a car's life age is 5 million. So 5 million, so 5 years, I'm sorry. So 9 million cars in Indonesia divided by 5 years is 1.8 million cars sold in a year in Indonesia. I think that is my answer. Thank you, Kak.
Thank you. Any comments from the team? Probably not. It could be an answer, or it could be, I don't know, like, how do you feel about Biani's and Camille's like approach? Okay, no one? Fine. So I think then question on Biani, right? Why 5% of card market growth? Why not 10%? Why not 3%? Why not 1%? Why 5%?
Yeah, thank you for that question. So I use 5% because based on reading and also just general knowledge, I've seen that Indonesia economic growth is around 5% a year. So I would also think that would be the growth since the number of cars that are purchased might be parallel to the number of people who are climbing up the economic ladder. So I would say that the percentage would not differ very much. I think so. That's my estimation.
Ken, thank you very much. Then the second question is, you divided the group of people into 3 basically, right? One is those that don't have cars. The second one is those that have 1 cars, which is you got the middle, like probably like upper middle class, and the other would be like those that have 2 cars, right?
Yes.
Just wondering if you actually factor in, like in most places they actually have a ganjil genap situation, right? Where they actually, that like it actually forces people to have 2 cars, and like these places actually consists of like almost 20% of the Indonesia population.
I see. Yep. Okay. Yes. That would very much add to the credibility of the answer itself, because I estimated that the number of cars the people who own more than 1 car based on the economy level only. But then there could also be the ones who might not be the upper middle class but owns 2 cars, but they have to own it because of the ganjil genap situation. So I think
How would you incorporate that into your calculation then, if you had the time?
All right. Upper middle class and the middle class itself. So I think since upper middle class is already into account, and they could also be living in the area, I think we do not have to calculate it from there. So I think I would divide again the the middle class people, the middle class category in my calculation, in which I only assume that the middle class only have one car. So I think we can divide it that again. The middle class who owns two cars with maybe means through cicilan or something like that. And then the middle class who just sticks with one car because they do not live in that area.
Okay. Then, thank you, Biani. Then to Camille's answer, right? I think yes, you use the demographics of people, but then like, wouldn't you actually think that even those that like there's a part of population that would probably own a car even before they got married, and like when like for example in like these tier one cities, right, where like most of the tier one cities people like even the come out of age would have cars already. And then when they got married, they basically just like double it. How would you incorporate that into your calculation? I don't know if Camille's still here. Probably not. Fine. So I think, yes, that's okay. Case finished, right? So that's the end of the case interview. I think for the 50 people that are here, case interviews is not about getting the right number. It's about getting the right approach and be able to defend it and be able to explain it. So I think for both presentations, yes, they have a clear structure, but the rationale behind it could be strengthened. Like why 5%, or have I considered other places, right? Have I considered that tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 cities would have different demographic altogether, for example. Oh, actually in Jakarta, there's a necessity for middle class to have two cars, right? And actually the 10% would have four cars because like four people, they have four cars for all the children, right? So be able to absorb all of those granularity of your approach and be able to defend it. And there's no a right or wrong answer, right? There's just a right or wrong approach. I would then like if you pick up like Biani and Camille both like round up the numbers to make the calculation easier. That's always advisable because otherwise you would be bogged up with, I don't know, like very ugly numbers. But please be careful on rounding up the numbers so that it's not like too significant, right? Here we have like 250, Biani rounds up down to 200, and then Camille rounds up to 300, right? So just be careful on rounding it up because otherwise you will be look like, okay, like you don't know the market, because like it's just like too different. You are rounding up like 25% of the market basically. So that on communication, it could be clearer. Like, yes, I think you started with an approach, but you actually switch in the middle between approach and then actually doing the approach instead of pulling the approach from start to finish. And then it's clear on what you plan to do. Instead of like me got to switch between approach calculation, approach calculation, approach calculation. So that, and I think then what else? It's clear that you are puzzled when you are challenged. So I think from confidence level, it could be better maintained. Because like actually the mock case is a mock of like an actual situation of you with the client, right? So even when like they will ask you tough challenges, and if you cannot answer that, or if they like probably Natasha could attest to this, right? Clients are like can smell like fear. If they know that you are scared, then they will understand that you are not like getting it, So you got to stay calm and confident even in toughest situation. Cool. I think that's all for me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think if I can add just a bit about the case study, Amira, is that okay?
Sure, Kak.
Yeah, okay, aku mungkin add sedikit ya. Okay, so I think it was really nice. Thank you, Kezia, for leading the session. I think it was interesting, apalagi dari Biani sama Kamil. It's nice to know that you guys udah mulai memikirkan dari segi kayak ada kalkulasi di situ, Biani dan Kamil, how you think about it from the top-down approach. So I think that's a really good step that you're doing to like solve this case study. Mungkin tadi Kezia mention untuk Deloitte Consulting itu beda banget case-nya, bukan kayak gini. Jadi pas aku masuk itu, jadi aku ada 2 case-nya aku pernah cobain. Jadi yang pertama itu merger and acquisition strategy. Jadi pada saat itu the case was a real life organization yang dia mau melakukan merger and acquisition. Jadi dari segi konsultan kayak what do we have to do, dari segi strategi, dari segi orangnya, dari segi proses juga apa yang harus dikerjain. Jadi pada saat itu yang aku tawarin itu lebih ke framework. Jadi my framework around that solution itu apa? Jadi what I suggested was yang pertama kita harus ngelihat dari segi organisasi strukturnya nih. Jadi tentunya pada saat kedua organisasi mau jadi satu kan there are some division yang nggak dibutuhin lagi tergantung effectiveness-nya. Jadi kita dari situ melihat mana yang kira-kira bisa kita cut. Karena tentunya menurut aku prinsip semua organisasi itu adalah they wouldn't want to spend money on something yang mereka nggak butuh. Jadi semua organisasi itu bisa cost efficient gitu kan. Jadi my solution was doing an organization design. Mungkin bagi ada anak-anak psikologi di sini, if you're interested in organization design bisa baca-baca. So that's basically about kayak struktur organisasi. Dan pada saat aku masuk Deloitte itu juga mirip-mirip case ya tentang M&A dan strategi around how we can develop the right people. So I think it was good that Biani you started with questioning the interviewer dengan your questions and your critical questions.
Hi, Kak. I think your internet is a bit off lagi.
Minutes supaya kita harus bisa bener tadi kata Kezia kita harus calm mungkin juga. We have to be like really calm in addressing our solution. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think those are just my additional key takeaways. Yeah.
Okay, thank you Kak Kezia dan Kak Natasha. Mungkin ada yang mau di add on lagi Kak?
Okay.
Good for me. Thank you so much.
Okay, so maybe this will sum up our session today for the presentation at first and your case interview in the second session also. Thank you very much, Kak, for Kak Kezia and Kak Natasha and also tadi Bu Lenita for coming. It is an honor for me to lead this discussion today. And I would like to remind our participants that we will have a feedback. Please give us some feedback about our session today at bit.ly/feedback in the caps lock AAS1. Please give us feedback through that G form, and I think my team would put a link also in through email to your email. And maybe that's all for me. Thank you also buat Kak Biani tadi yang udah menjawab case interview-nya. And maybe the session I will ask kakak-kakak buat take a picture first dengan participants also. So buat teman-teman yang lagi off cam, buat tolong di on cam dulu, dan mungkin dari tim media and communications they will take a screenshot Kak, if that's okay. Oke, buat teman-teman ditunggu ya buat nyalain kameranya, buat kita bisa take a picture together. Oke, buat Jane mungkin boleh delete Jane buat take a picture.
Okay, so I think I will give like 1 minute for all of you guys to turn on your video. Atau siap-siap dulu. Boleh. Bentar. Oke. Ada lagi yang mau turn on cam? Ya, oke. Jadi ada 2 slide. Kita yang slide pertama dulu ya. Siap? 1, 2, 3. Oke. Sebentar. Lagi. 1, 2, 3. Oke, next slide. Terakhir. Ayo. 1, 2, 3. Oke.
Okay, Kak, that sums up our session today. Again, thank you very much for Kak Kezia and Kak Natasha for coming. Mungkin nanti juga dari teman aku juga bakal ada yang nanya, mungkin kalau feedback dari Kak Kezia dan Kak Natasha itu kayak gimana throughout the sessionnya juga. Mungkin ada last word, Kak, buat dari Kak Kezia sama Kak Natasha, buat teman-teman di sini juga.
I think for me, it's a good place to start, and like I love that like so many people from different backgrounds are interested in consulting. I think it's very important for women to to know that there are these opportunities that probably like you feel that oh cuma anak FEB yang bisa. It's not. This one. Second is I think you know like people are motivated by different things, but just like try to understand what is your motivation driver and just follow that. And third, find the right boyfriend. Very important. Very important.
Yes.
Oke, noted Kak Kezia, thank you Kak Kezia. Untuk Kak Natasha mungkin ada last word Kak buat teman-teman di sini juga.
I think Kezia summed that up pretty well. Jadi intinya kalau it's nice to know that kalian semua ini tertarik di consulting. There are a lot of women in consulting, and we need more of you guys. Jadi kayak apply to BCG or Deloitte or PwC. Maybe I'll see you guys around di situ. So yeah, and I think having a supportive partner and like friends itu sangat membantu juga sih dalam kita menjalani this consulting life. So I think that's it from me.
Oke, Kak, thank you Kak. Thanks banget buat Kak Kezia and Kak Natasha juga. Maybe that sums up our session. Feel free if you guys want to leave. Thank you banget ya Kak. Baik Kak. Thank you all.
Bye, thank you. Bye
Bye
semuanya.
semuanya. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you, thank you.
Oke, mungkin untuk recordingnya sama YouTube-nya bisa di turn off.